Hi everyone, I am Kenya from Kenya's Cool World Productions, as most of you know, and I wanted to just do a little brief video, a little brief commentary just concerning politics. I'm still getting acclimated and learning my way around YouTube, but from time to time as I feel moved, I will do videos. And so I was moved, everyone, by Michelle Obama's speech, and so I'm just going to get I'm going to take some time to talk about why it's important to vote and why your vote does matter. Hi everyone, I just want to come to you today with a brief commentary on the Democratic National Convention for 2016. Of course, it was an amazing success, but the highlight for me was Michelle Obama's speech. As well as the presidency of Obama. We're going to dive into what he's actually accomplished, make sure that everyone has an accurate understanding of his record, so let's jump in. Everyone, so let's go ahead and take a better look at Obama's record. Obama passed the stimulus signed $787 billion American Recovery and Reinvestment Act in 2009. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at what that entails. If you hear a little background chatter, do not worry. They're just doing a little bit of construction. I am out about in the city filming, but let's go ahead and delve into the accomplishments of this great American president. So now we're just going to discuss the details of the stimulus that Obama passed. So basically, Obama signed a $787 billion American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. He did this in 2009 to spur economic growth amid the greatest recession since the Great Depression. Weeks after stimulus went into effect, unemployment claims began to subside. 12 months later, the private sector began producing more jobs than it was losing. And it has continued to do so for 23 straight months, creating a total of nearly 3.7 million new private sector jobs. So, Trump is running saying that he'll create jobs, but President Obama actually has a track record of creating jobs. And I think it's just so paramount that when we're putting someone in office, we're not just listening to political propaganda, we're hiring people who or electing people, who have a political record. Obama obviously was a senator previously. Hillary Clinton is a senator. And, it's just so important that we don't elect the wrong person into office. We want to make sure that a person has a demonstrated successful record. But this is just about Obama, and I wanted to make sure that people understood what he did. When he inherited this economy, it was just insane. In fact, people thought he was crazy for wanting to clean up the economy, but he said that he could and would do it, and he has done it in just, 7.5, almost 8 years. So let's just not, forget that accomplishment that he did. So what I really like to do at this point in time is just sort of dispel some of the political propaganda surrounding Obama's time in office. He has accomplished so much, and I think that, we as Americans have had kind of a short memory. I think we may have forgotten what the status of the economy was in when he took office in 2008, and we all expected him to have a magic wand and sort of clean up this country, and surprisingly, he did quite a bit. So let's just go ahead and take a look at some of the things that he has done. Okay, so let's move on to the next point. The Healthcare Reform Act. 5 presidents over a century failed to get a universal health care bill for Americans. And whether you like the bill or not, I know Bernie Sanders, I support him, has been a defector of the health care. People are calling it Obamacare. But prior to that, we did not have universal health care insurance for all of our Americans. And I'm going to admit this, I can't believe I'm admitting this in this broadcast, but Blood, Sweat, and Heels was one of the guilty pleasures that I enjoyed watching, sort of trash television. And there was a character on there by the name of Daisy, and unfortunately she has passed away. But one of the things that she stipulated was she had cancer and she was able to afford her treatment, which at the time was effective because of this Health Care Act that President Obama passed. So that's one of the things that he said he would do. I believe he passed this bill in 2011. It was enacted in 2014, and no one, not Clinton, not Gore, not any former president has been able to get us a universal health care bill. So that's an amazing accomplishment. And let's take a look at, what that bill is specifically. So now let's just cover the specifics of the bill that Obama passed called the Healthcare Reform Act. Essentially, after 5 presidents over a century failed to create universal health insurance, Obama signed the Affordable Care Act. He did this in 2010, and it covered 32 million uninsured Americans, and it began in 2014, so just 2 short years ago. And it mandates a suite of experimental measures to cut healthcare cost growth, the number one cause of Americans' long-term fiscal problems. Okay, so let's move on to the next point. One of the other things that President Obama did during his term was he passed the Wall Street reform. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that actually entailed. Now we're going to discuss the specifics of the bill that he passed, the Wall Street Reform. It was signed the Donald Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act. He did this in 2010 to re-regulate the financial sector after its practices caused the Great Recession. The new law tightens capital requirements on large banks and other financial institutions, requires derivatives to be sold on clearinghouses and exchanges, mandates that large banks provide living wills to avoid chaotic bankruptcies, limits their ability to trade with customers' money for their own profit, and creates the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, now headed by Richard Cordray, to crack down on abusive lending products and companies. I'm not sure if Richard Cordray is still heading this, but do your own research on that. The point was just to show some of the things that Obama has accomplished. Okay, so let's move on to the next point. So one of the other things that Obama did during his administration was, I believe, a campaign promise. I'm not 100% sure, but he ended the war in Iraq. Let's not all forget what a bloody, ugly mess that was that Bush dragged us into. He brought back our sons, our daughters, our fathers, our mothers, and he ended that war as he said he would do. And we forget that we were dragged into this war under the premise of weapons of mass destruction, which we later found out to be untrue. But let's not forget what a Herculean task that actually was. So he definitely kept his promise with regards to that. And let's get into the specifics of what he actually did. Okay, as I mentioned, Obama did end the war in Iraq. We all know that seemed like it went on forever. He ordered all U.S. military forces out of the country, and the last troops left on December 18, 2011. If we get and elect Trump, he'll have us in war with everyone. Let's not forget that, we were dragged into a war on fake allegations of weapons of mass destruction. It just is my opinion that Donald Trump doesn't seem to be able to be politically conscious. He seems to be just careless with his words, his propaganda and political hateful rhetoric towards African Americans, towards Muslims, towards just pretty much anyone, could definitely land us in a war again. So you really want to be conscious and think about that as you are placing your vote. But once again, this is about Obama's record, so that's one of the things that he did for the American people. Next thing that President Obama did during his presidency is he eliminated Osama bin Laden. Let's go ahead and get into the facts of that situation. Of course, that was a Bush promise that never was fulfilled, but under his presidency, he definitely did accomplish that quietly and efficiently, and he was quietly keeping Americans safe. People want to say that Obama is soft, but he's not soft, and he is a president that accomplishes a lot, and we want to take a look at what he actually did. So Obama did eliminate Osama bin Laden. In 2011, Obama ordered special forces raid a secret compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan, in which the terrorist leader was killed and a trove of al-Qaeda documents was discovered. Another thing that President Obama did was he turned around the U.S. auto industry. So let's take a look at some of the facts and what that entailed. Obama turned around the U.S. auto industry. In 2009, he injected $62 billion in federal money on top of $13.4 billion in loans from the Bush administration into ailing GM and Chrysler in return for equity stakes and agreements for massive restructuring. Since bottoming out in 2009, the auto industry has added more than 100,000 jobs. In 2011, the big three automakers all gained market share for the first time in 2 decades. The government expected to lose $16 billion of its investments, less if the price of GM stock it still owns increases. So, once again, Obama has a proven record of generating more revenue for America and creating more jobs. Other things that President Obama accomplished was repealing the Don't Ask, Don't Tell Act. Okay, so we were talking about Obama repealing the Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Essentially, what he did was he ended the 1990s era restriction and formalized new policy allowing gays and lesbians to serve openly in the military for the first time. Now, here's the thing: you may be, pro-homosexual, anti-homosexual. It really doesn't matter. The most important thing is that we allow people who are homosexual into the military to live their own lives and make their own choices. I think it was a great thing, Don't Ask, Don't Tell, so that people who were homosexual were not ostracized. But for those who wish to come out and be openly homosexual, they certainly should have that opportunity and they should have that right, and Obama gave that to them. Other things that President Obama accomplished was he toppled Muammar Gaddafi. Let's look into the facts a little bit more regarding that. So Obama toppled Muammar Gaddafi in 2011, joined a coalition of European and Arab governors in military action, including an air and power naval blockade against Gaddafi regime to defend Libyan civilians and support rebel troops. Gaddafi's 42-year rule ended when the dictator was overthrown and killed by rebels on October 20th, 2011. No American lives were lost. Obama reversed Bush torture policies, so let's talk about that and what that actually meant. So Obama reversed Bush's torture policies 2 days after taking office, nullified Bush's era rulings that had allowed detainees in U.S. custody to undergo certain enhanced interrogation techniques considered inhumane under the Geneva Conventions. Also released the secret Bush legal rulings supported the use of these techniques. Everyone. So everybody, of course, has been ranting and raving about Michelle Obama. I think she's one of the greatest orators that I've ever seen. And I want to go ahead and take a look at her speech. As you can see, she was just full of grace, passion, originality, and you can really tell that she's speaking from the heart. And that's one of the things that just really, really grabbed me about her speech. I have a snippet of it running right now in the background. To the American people, I just feel like she's speaking directly to me, directly, honestly. What else would you expect from someone so accomplished and so magnanimous? She's from the South Side of Chicago. I'm originally from the South Side of Chicago, and South Side of Chicago girls do it best.
Thank you all.
So as you can see, the DNC was an amazing success. I want to say that it was well organized, well executed, and I just have to mention to you, your voice really does matter and your vote really does count.
And I watch my daughters, 2 beautiful, intelligent black young women, playing with their dogs on the White House lawn. And because of Hillary Clinton, my daughters and all our sons and daughters now take for granted that a woman can be president of the United States. So look, don't let anyone ever tell you that this country isn't great, that somehow we need to make it great again, because this right now is the greatest country on earth.
Everyone, that is going to do it for my commentary on the DNC 2016 convention, as well as Michelle Obama's speech and Obama's record. The point of doing this is to show you how imperative it is to have the proper information so that you can make informed decisions and choices.